Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
August 27, 2020, the I Can't Believe It's edition. First up from the New York Times the Wall Street Journal, the SEC will allow businesses to report less information in their regulatory filings. The commission, voting along party lines, voted to give companies the ability to disclose less in their an amendment to Regulation S and K. Of course, they claim that they're giving companies more flexibility, but the bottom line is companies will hide more information from investors. This is really the SEC's, this administration's continuing attempt to gut all information that would allow investors to make informed decisions and allow companies to hide more. So companies have to report less on risks, and investors be damned. Next up, and this one is from the New York Times, a former staffer at TMZ alleges that the company had a toxic workplace. In a discrimination complaint, Bernadette Zilio said women were mistreated at the powerhouse news house led by Harvey Levine. I'm shocked that anyone would think TMZ would be such a place. But she says she was wrongfully fired after complaining about the misogynic workplace under the leadership of Levine. She said that she faced discrimination and was threatened with a lawsuit if she went public. She and her female colleagues described it as a boys' club, bro fest, and frat house where women were belittled and held to a higher standard. So once again, I'm surprised, shocked that TMZ would be anything close to a toxic culture, given the toxicity of what they put out. Next up from the New York Times, again, the investigation by McDonald's into former CEO Steve Easterbrook has really just gone from the ridiculous to the absurd. As McDonald's said on Tuesday, it's investigating into misconduct claims within the company that now include whether he covered up inappropriate actions by other executives during his tenure. The company said it was examining the actions of the Human Resources Department. The board will follow the facts, allegedly. Given how the board has screwed the pooch from day one, it's hard to believe that they're going to do something right. Nevertheless, as Easterbrook was dismissed after he notified the board of a inappropriate sexting relationship with another employee, usually people don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to start having inappropriate relationships with executives. And if it turns out that the HR department was in on this, then you move to Steve Wynn territory, where the role of HR becomes not to protect the employees, but to protect senior management. I certainly hope for McDonald's sake that's not true, but this is a very ominous turn. And finally, let me just end with thoughts and prayers to our friends in Louisiana. By the time this podcast posts, Laura will have made landfall, and I hope everyone can stay safe during this time. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.